Justin from Patience and Consistency. Today I want to go over a bunch of different core exercises that you can start doing from your home. I have a few different accessories here. I tried doing this video before, but I had a phone call that messed it up, so I'm hoping that we can go straight through here for 12 minutes. We've got a Swiss ball, physio ball here. I've got an ab roller, which is a little bit more on the advanced side. We'll use that at the end. And then I've got this yoga block just for coordination purposes and a little bit when we go over some of the body weight movements. So today, I want to start with just the absolute basics, and we're going to go into a bird dog position. So we're going to kneel down on all fours, and then from here you're trying to brace your stomach and just balance that position and reach opposite limbs. Right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. And for rep purposes, anywhere from 5 to 8 on each side, so a total of 10 to 16. And really focus on bracing your stomach, right? It's easy to just flail around and just go into the movement. Slow and controlled, really feel your stomach and create that muscle-mind connection with your core as you're doing it. That's really important, especially with a lot of this stuff. Now I understand, I probably have some people watching this who don't even feel comfortable getting down on the ground. So if you have a table or a chair in your house, a couch, what you could do is just put your hands at the end, little bend in the knees so you become stable. And the same thing, this is what I do with a lot of my older adults, just to get that core work in. And again, if you don't feel comfortable or controlled to lift up that leg, just reach the arm. Slow and controlled. You can focus on the arms first, and then you can create more of a base with your arms, and then try to kick the leg back and alternate that way. All right, that's a great starting point. Number two would be the exact same thing, but just on your back, okay? So you're gonna lie down, and the most common thing I see is people's knees are too far forward, so they're arching at their back. That's how you get your low back discomfort. So you tuck the knees in as much as you can so your belly button's nice and flat. Reach the hands up, and then for coordination purposes, let's stay with the same limbs. Left arm, left leg. Same thing on this, 5 to 8 on each side. And then once you're finished, we'll switch over to the other side. Same thing, make sure you're keeping that belly button as flat as you possibly can. And try to make sure you're creating that muscle-mind connection as you're going through the movement, all right? So that's 2 movements right there. Number 3 would be your typical plank. And again, you know, a lot of the variations can be done here on the bench. Don't do a dead bug on the bench because you might teeter off and fall off. But for planks, there's a bunch of different variations that you can do at home. You can do the push-up plank. This is gonna work a little bit more chest. Just because you're higher off the ground, it's gonna take some pressure off of the stomach, so this is a great starting position. However, it could cause discomfort on your wrist. So if it's causing discomfort on your wrist, option number 2 would be trying to get down on the elbows. And a good setup position would be setting up here with the elbows a little bit underneath the shoulders, push through the toes, yeah, you can see, and then drive yourself up and think nice flat back. You know, I have kids at home, so I think a great cue for this would be think a kid is gonna jump on your back, and you wanna be able to brace that impact of them jumping on your back, okay? And that's the best way that you can create that muscle-mind connection in your stomach and get as much recruitment as possible. We'll keep this at number 3, is a side plank. This is a much more advanced version. Actually, let's say this is number 5. We got the arm plank, elbow plank. And honestly, you could run through everything that I'm about to do and make this a really crazy core exercise or a core workout. So number 5 would be a side plank, getting yourself up as high as you can. Make sure your elbows stacked underneath your shoulders. This is much more advanced than what we just did. So this is number 5, and then if you want to get really fancy, say you're doing the side planks and you're holding it for a minute, let's try to lift that top leg and get into a starfish. You can do whatever you want with this arm, and your inner Patrick from SpongeBob can come out. That's exercise number 6. Number 7, what we can do is stand up here. I'll give you a few different banded exercises. So number 7 would be here, grabbing onto this band. And this is a Palloff press. This is one of those deeper internal core exercises like we did with the dead bugs and the bird dogs. We just grab onto this band, make sure it's set up onto something pretty sturdy in your house, like a beam downstairs in your basement. Little bend in the knees, create a good solid base. We're gonna press straight out. Slow and controlled, common flaw I see with this is just pressing you're not gonna feel it. Like I said, you have to make sure that you're feeling and creating that muscle-mind connection. So a little bend in the knees, almost think like you're trying to press far away, slow and controlled. Same thing, anywhere from 5 to 8 reps each way. And then just make sure that you're not feeling lopsided and you're doing the same thing on the other side. Now, if you don't have a band, that's okay. Maybe wait until you go to a gym or purchase bands on Amazon. You'll probably get them tonight because Amazon is absolutely incredible. Number 2 with the band would be some kind of a trunk rotation, right? So from here, instead of pressing out, we're trying to bend at the hip, but still really focusing on the obliques, which is that outer aspect of your stomach, to rotate as much as you can. There's 2 options here. You can either keep your face and your nose facing the same way. I tell that to a lot of people who feel lightheaded when they're spinning or if they're turning too much. And then option number 2, just so I don't feel lopsided, would be turning your nose and following your nose to your hands as you rotate out. So that's 9 exercises right there. I had another one here on the band. Let's see, who's this comment? Appreciate you, Joseph. Appreciate those hearts. All right, I've got about 5 minutes to keep going here. Who's this? You have 9 new messages. All right, that's not good. All right, so we went over normal plank on the ground. Let's go plank on the ball here, okay? We're gonna go, this is more advanced. I just wanna get some of this stuff in because I'm kind of limited on time here. I have a client who's gonna come in about 10 minutes. Actually, it's a small group class. So when I introduce the ball to people, this is a really scary moment. We're gonna go elbows on the ball, knees down on the ground, and then we're gonna lift the legs straight out. I always tell people go wide with your feet to create that base, and as you feel comfortable, you can narrow it in. So a few different options. Number 10 would just be holding a plank on the ball, all right? Because this is gonna create an unstable surface, and it's gonna make you shake a little bit more. Number 2 would be doing a plank saw. So you're just trying to reach the elbows. All right, number 3 would be a circle, where you're going into that circular motion, and you have 2 options. You can either go in the straight circles, but I always like to tell people to alternate. So go clockwise to counterclockwise, just because it's gonna force you to reset and lose that momentum to force your core to work a little bit more. I remember my other exercise with the band. These are called stir the pots. We should be on number 14 right now with this one. Same thing, same setup as the trunk rotations, and you're just trying to rotate and get a big circle. Almost think like you're a witch and you're brewing your pot. I like to bring this exercise out a lot during Halloween, just because it has a good theme to it. Okay, so with the yoga block, I'm not going to bring that out, but what you can do with the yoga block is put it in between your knee and your elbow for the dead bugs, just because, again, it's gonna help with the coordination. You know, a lot of people, their left arm, right leg shoot out. So you could use the yoga block, and if you don't have a yoga block, you can even use the physio ball that I was just showing you, and you can use that to help with the coordination. Kettlebell. A lot of people have kettlebells. I meant to introduce this in the beginning. A lot of people have kettlebells in their house. They're usually being used as a doorstop. You just hold on to it like this, right? And you can march. This is a great core exercise here. You can just stand and stare at a clock for 30 seconds, single arm farmer's carry. And the idea of the kettlebell is it's trying to pull you down, but you're trying to resist that and trying to keep that tension the whole time. And then what I just did, you can slowly bring it down and bring it up. So you're getting into more of like an oblique crunch here. I wouldn't do a lot of these. I'm more of an anti-rotation, anti-flexion kind of movement guy, but the flexion is fine once in a while. Same thing, so you could take, a lighter plate, maybe something like this. This is a 10-pound plate, but if you have a bumper plate, it'll give you a little bit more freedom with the overhead. You can press overhead and just try to march in place. Usually any kind of marching, I'm gonna give you a good marching exercise in a second here. Any kind of marching in place, but the same thing that I've been mentioning is you wanna make sure that you're bracing your core through that whole movement, right? Anyone can just march like this, but you have to make sure that you're trying to brace your core, because that's the idea of the core exercise. You've got that overhead positioning and you're bracing your core. It's gonna make you breathe heavy in that position. This is a really good one. My wife and I have been introducing this to a few clients lately. You can hold onto a bench, and all I want you to do is lightly let yourself fall back so you get a little bit of core recruitment, and then we're just marching right here. Trying to get the knees up as high as you can. We should be on about 17 right now. Back to the planking position. We could do something called a plank walkout, which is just another variation of the ab wheel. So let's go over 3 walkout positioning here so we can get to 20. So here in a top plank, you just take 2 steps forward, hold that position, stick it, and then make sure you're getting those 2 same steps back. You can either alternate arms that you're leading with so you don't feel lopsided, meaning I just started with my right, so now I'll start with my left. Another great one is here in a plank and alternating shoulder taps. Let's grab the kettlebell. Let's do another good one right here. These are called pull-throughs. So from here, I'm gonna go try to keep the body as steady as possible. I know I'm saying the same thing over and over, but you're trying to brace as much as you can. It's easy to just kind of collapse at the knees and pull it over, right? You're trying to keep your body as stiff and pull that kettlebell through. That should be about 21. I'm running out of time here, sorry guys. Russian twist on the ground, good oblique exercise. I got 2 people on, we're about 12 minutes in. Yeah, I gotta pop off. Okay, Russian twist, another great exercise here. So you just sit down, you have 2 options here, keep the heels down, rotate right to left, slow and controlled, full range of motion, okay? Or you can keep the heels off the ground, get a big reach each way. I'll give you guys one bonus. If you have any kind of anything to anchor yourself, you can hold on to a bench. You can go knees tucked in. Same thing, keep that belly button flat. Or you can go legs straight up. Right? And then last one, just because it popped in my mind, this is probably the most important one before you even do any of this stuff, is a pelvic tilt. So you're here, flat down on your belly. I want you to thrust the hip up, and then it's just this pelvis. It's just the pelvis, the pelvic bone moving up and down. I can't really think of a good way to explain it, but you're almost thrusting the ceiling on top of you. That's the most appropriate way. All right, there you have it. Probably went about 25, 26 movements. Hope everyone enjoyed this. Thank you for staying on. There's 1 viewer. Hopefully you didn't just stay on the whole time. It's about 13 minutes. I will post this to my videos, and I hope you enjoyed this video.